she has that crash. So, Michael, do you think this will maybe lead in the future to more strict rules at the Olympics and more coaches having to protect the athletes from themselves here?
Um, maybe it. Okay. I mean, I think everyone knows. I once, well, twice fought on a torn ACL. So this is, I am would theoretically be the athlete that you're talking about here that needs to be protected. Um, and the sad thing in all this is that the sad reality is that most athletes, when going into a big event like the Olympics, are dealing with something. Is it to the severity of a torn ACL? More often than not, no. But are they dealing with something? Maybe a partially torn MCL, maybe a fractured ankle, maybe a bad back, maybe a shoulder rotator cuff thing. Everyone's dealing with something going into a big event. It just is the reality of the situation. Um, so to so it's one of those things where as a coach, as a doctor, as a team doctor, as an organizer, do you take away someone's chance at being great just because you're dealing with something? And that's the $1 million question that people who are in the know have to wrestle with. I'm not talking about casual Jimmy Tom so and so who sits at his TV or her TV watching the Olympics. I'm talking about the people in the know who know that these athletes have spent 4 years training, working their butt off, qualifying to get into the Olympics. Who know that they're dealing with something. That $1 million question is, what can we do? What what's the word I'm looking for? What measures can we put in place to make it so that people with major injuries like a torn ACL can't go in there to compete?
Like, it's one of those things where, like, Aaron, do you think that Team USA maybe, like, I know there's a lot of sponsors, especially for her being a big name,
Mhm.
but do you think somebody should have just came in and said, you know what, this isn't worth it?
Um, like I guess now looking at hindsight, then probably, but at the same time, like injuries happen in sports all the time. Like it's unfortunate when it happens, but that's the risk involved in any of these competitions. And with Vaughn, she's a professional. She's been doing this for years now. So, it's just very unfortunate that that this injury happened. And, hopefully this injury won't like get her down and get her hopes up and be like, okay, I'm not gonna like compete anymore. I'm just gonna give it all together. Hopefully, at the very least, maybe she could like use this and like, okay, I'm going to be better, stronger. I'm going to use it as fuel so that I can get back to the Olympic stage and medal.
Do you guys think that maybe Kurt Angle ruined it for everyone? He did win a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. So do you think everyone's looking at this as, I want my Kurt Angle moment?
Yeah. You know what's funny though? I think everyone has that like image of the Jordan flu game, the Kurt Angle broken neck. Like how great of a story would it have been with Lindsey Vonn being 41 years old on a torn ACL, 41 years old on a torn ACL, winning the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? Like there's an alternate universe somewhere where Lindsey Vonn basically has like it is in the American culture zeitgeist as her own version of the flu game, right? Where on a torn ACL in her 40s wins the Olympics. But instead, we're talking about, her crashing and being airlifted off, right? So it's really sad. But you make a good point, like, in all seriousness, like, did maybe those images of pushing through it, maybe, I guess give people delusions of grandeur, so to speak, right?